everyone, my name is Tori, this is Novel Life, and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a really exciting video that actually Sam from Sam Reads a Little, she reached out to me and asked if I wanted to do this video with her and a bunch of other like romance booktubers here on BookTube, and I said, that sounds amazing. So basically, I'm going to give you two books that I think are overhyped, two books that I think are underhyped, and two books that I think are worth the hype. So thank you, Sam, for reaching out, because I think this is a fun idea. It's going to be pretty quick. If you know me, I feel like you could probably guess the books that I'm going to talk about. But I just thought it would be a really fun idea to do for you guys too. So I thought it would also be cool if you guys let me know your two overhyped, two underhyped, and two worth the hype books, because I'm looking for things to read in 2023, add to my TBR. So definitely drop me those books in the comments if you have any for me. Also, I will have everyone who's doing this little collab linked in the description box. I know Sam's doing it. I know Jess is doing it. I know Cheyenne is doing it. I know Crystal is doing it. I think Caitlin's doing it. There's a bunch of us that are doing it, and I don't want to miss anyone. So I'm just going to put everyone who's doing it in the description box. So you make sure you go check out their videos, because I feel like we're going to have very, very different books. So yeah, let's just go ahead and jump in. I'm going to start with the overhyped books. So I have two books that I think are overhyped, and one is not going to come as a surprise, and I'm going to start with that one, and that's Lark by Alex Astor. So I've read this book. I did a reading vlog for this book and Belladonna. I picked up both of these at Barnes & Noble. I was really interested. It was during the fall. I was in the mood for kind of like some spooky books, but like YA spooky, because I don't do adult spooky because that's too spooky for me, if you know what I mean. And I was really excited for this one. I'm not gonna lie, this one was complete trash. I do not understand why people love this book. I do not understand why it is getting turned into a movie. Or a TV show, whatever it is. I don't understand why the author is like on the Kelly Clarkson show. I just don't understand. I don't think that out of all the YA like romance fantasy books, I don't understand why this is the one that everyone's raving about. There is no character development. There is no romance. The plot does not make sense. There are so many plot holes in this book that I honestly was just blown away by, like, how did this get traditionally published? Like, how? That's kind of my thing. I just kept saying how the whole time. I do have a reading vlog where I read this book, so I'll link it in the cards, but yeah, just gonna throw this one out there. It's not going to come as a surprise. Indigo Ridge by Devney Perry. So this book, actually, if you know me, I love Devney Perry, which is also Will and Ash. And I was really nervous to read this book. Juniper Hill, which is the second book in the Eden series. This is the first book. That is one of my top books of 2022. Okay, this one, unfortunately, I feel like is way overhyped compared to the other two books in the series. I prefer Juniper Hill and Garnet Flats way over Indigo Ridge. I feel like this is very, very heavy in the suspense plot, like suspense with some romance. I don't really think this is kind of like a small town romance. I just felt really bored. I didn't care about the characters and what they were doing, like suspense wise. Now the romance was pretty good, which what we saw, but I just felt like it was not like the same romance hard hitting that like Juniper Hill and even Garnet Flats was. So unfortunately, this is not, I mean, to be fair, I just think it's overhyped. I gave it 3 stars. It's not like her writing is still good, everything like that. I just feel like compared to the other ones, this one is really overhyped, but I see why it's overhyped, because it's a first in a series. A lot of people think they have to read this before they go into the other books. You do not. I read the second and third book before I even read this one. So now I will say there's a Christmas novella that if you're looking for a little Christmas novella, that's really cute. It's called Christmas in Quincy that I liked. So the two underhyped books is obviously not going to come as a surprise if you watch my channel, but if you're new here, these are two books that I think are extremely underhyped. The first one is For Lucy by Julie Ann. This one actually took me away. I feel like Julie Ann is actually a underrated contemporary romance writer in general, but she does have a lot of books that a lot of people talk about. For example, Look the Part. That is a very, I feel like, overhyped romance for her. I think it's pretty good. Like, I think it's worth the hype. I think a lot of people enjoy it. Her Naked Fisherman series, I feel like a lot of people read that and love it. But this book was so freaking emotional and so freaking romantic. It is like the epitome of how much you love someone other than like yourself. Like, literally, it shows the epitome of that romance and how in a marriage, how you care for someone and how you should how you put someone above your own like self. I just think that this book was beautiful. I listened to the audiobook. I did not physically read this, but I would highly suggest the audiobook. I think the audiobook is absolutely beautiful. I think the narrators take it to the next level. Like sometimes with audiobooks, the narrators do a pretty good job and you're like, cool, solid. Sometimes the narrators can not be like, make a book not great for you. In this case, the audio narrators did such a phenomenal job. It just took the book to the next level, and it just made me tear up so many times. And I think this is so underrated, especially by Julie Ann. So definitely check out this one. It does have an HEA. It is a marriage in trouble where they're divorced. It's a divorced couple, and I just highly suggest it. It's so good. The next one that I have not stopped screaming about is Requiem by Callie Hart. This is a kind of new adult. I'm trying to hold it so it doesn't glare. A new adult, not really bully. I mean, it kind of seems like bully at the beginning, but it's not really like that. There's just so much that happens in this book that really took me by surprise that I didn't see coming. And I think because of that plot twist, a lot of people would enjoy it. I don't think everyone's going to love it and be obsessed with it as much as I am. But I think with Callie Hart, this is a really underrated book by her. It's a standalone. And you do get the HEA between the characters in this book. And I just feel like what the characters go through, it once again shows the epitome of like love and like caring for someone else. And I love it so much. Like Theo in here, he is such a book boyfriend. And you don't get that vibe right off at the beginning. But when things start happening and things start coming out and secret starts coming out, you realize everything that he's done is just so good. It's kind of a academia book. It takes place when they're in they're 18 technically, so it's in their last year of like high school, but they're like in boarding school kind of, like they stay on campus and stuff like that, like they have rooms and stuff. So it's just very much forced proximity as well, and I loved this one. Loved it. So the last two books that I'm going to talk about are books that I think are worth the hype. Now, these are also not going to come as a surprise, and I'm pretty sure some of the people who are doing this collab will also probably have these two books on there, but I haven't shut up about some of these books, and so sorry not sorry, but the first one I have is Magnolia Parks, and some people are going to be like, oh, I'm tired of hearing you talk about this book. While this is extremely overhyped, I personally think it is worth the hype. Now, I do know a lot of people who have read this, and it's not their favorite thing, but I think if you gave it a chance, a fair chance, and just dove into this book, I feel like everyone gets something different out of it. Everyone feels a certain way about the characters, and these are very character-driven books. So if character-driven books are something you enjoy or don't mind, definitely try it out. If you are someone who does not like character-driven books, then stay away. That's totally fine. But if this just seems interesting to you and it piques your interest, I promise if you give it a try, you would really like it. I have yet to read a book other than this series this year that the writing style is a breath of fresh air. It is so like embedded with how the characters are. So like Magnolia and BJ are very much romantics. They are wordsmith. The way they talk to each other, the way they talk about each other is very flowery and flowy, right? Jessa Hastings reflects that in her writing in this book. Now, if you pick up the next book, which is Daisy Hates is a very analytical person. She likes rules. There's no gray areas. Everything's black and white. She's very analytical. Her book and the writing style reflects that in her chapters in her book. And I think that is such a breath of fresh air to me that I appreciate that so much just because it's different. Like, not saying there's anything wrong with it, just because it's different. Also, I just love how this is dramatic and over the top, and you know, they're rich kids in London, and I just enjoy everything about it. I eat it up. I love it. I think this is definitely worth the hype, and it's one of my favorite books of the year. So yeah, of course I had to mention that one. Another book that I think is 100% worth the hype, Heartless by Elsie Silver. This book took, I feel like, everyone in the romance community by storm. There are people I know and friends I know that do not like cowboy and small town romances. And I will say, I've discovered small town romances this year. I've really enjoyed small town romances this year. Cowboys are not my favorite thing to read, but Cade is the ultimate cowboy small town romance book boyfriend, let me tell you. And Willa is also a character that I absolutely fell in love with too. And also Luke. Like, there is not one character in this book that I did not love. I mean, like, main characters, I should say. Like, all three of them is just fantastic. I mean, like, her being a nanny, having to live with Cade, who is super, super grumpy. Willa is a firecracker, doesn't take shit from Cade, puts up with Luke, makes him have a great summer, is just like such a role model to him. And I love, love, love all the aspects of this book. I think it is an all-encompassing romance that from start to finish you will enjoy, and you will be swept away by the story and you will not want to put it down. I will say this is also extremely spicy, and if you're looking for that too, if that's something you prefer in books, this one is definitely worth the hype. I've said this before, I'll say it again. Like, I don't know what Elsie Silver has put into Heartless and the first book, Flawless. I don't know what kind of shit that she put into it, like her writing. I don't know what she did. But it's such a solid start to the series that I cannot wait for the third book. And it's just, I'm completely blown away. She's one of my new favorite authors I've discovered this year. I'm reading some of her other books from her other series, and they're up there. Like, these are just the epitome of her writing. Like, perfection all around. So those are my 2 overhyped, 2 underhyped, and 2 worth the hype books. Like I said at the beginning of this video, make sure you check out everyone else who's going to be participating in this collab. Make sure you drop me your 2 overhyped, underhyped, and worth the hype books, because I'm interested to see what you guys think in the comments down below. Also drop me a, what kind of emoji? A firecracker emoji, because I was just talking about Willa, and Willa is a firecracker, and I love it. So like firework, firecracker, whatever. But I want to thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe for more content from me. As always, I hope you're living a novel life, and I will see you in my next one. Bye, guys.